Things rolling off my desk as we go live. How's everyone doing? Oh, what do we got? 0 in. All right. Good thing I got here early, man. We'll just wait as people come in. We're still waiting for Dylan as well. All right, 3 people walk in. How's everyone doing? We're also waiting for Dylan, just so you know. Dylan's got, he's usually here on time, but the beauty of doing this with StreamYards is that I don't have to do a bunch of background stuff. He just pops up in a window down here and I'm able to start. Steve, how's it going, man? We were here first. Welcome back, buddy. Yeah, this is also a cool day. I'm streaming to 2 other platforms. The Facebook Dark Corner Studios that I never spend any time on, and I really do not do anything with, but also the Twitter account, Dark Corner YT. So if you want to check me out on Twitter, feel free. As far as I know, everything's going good. I don't have any viewers from either one of those, I don't think. Now everything's coming from YouTube so far. So we'll see exactly how that YouTube and Facebook thing goes. See if there's any growth to be had there. How's everyone doing? Houston in the pews. How's it going? Greetings. Oh yeah, I forget I can do this. Hey, what's up? Yeah, don't have Facebook. Yeah, you know what? I haven't touched since I left radio. Frankly, I haven't touched Facebook whatsoever. Every once in a blue moon, if I run out of stuff on Twitter, I'll jump onto Facebook if I'm in the on the toilet or something, and I really need something to scroll. But I do not touch Facebook with a 10-foot pole. My wife is still on there. She's now on Instagram quite a bit. So yeah, I have no interest in that. I do have to say though, coming up, we're going to be doing the Austrian audio tour. I take it. Because this just came in. This actually just came in right before the stream started, which is why I was running a little late. It's the My Creator set. I didn't even know this was on the way. I had no idea they were sending this. It just showed up in yeah. I thought it was something else completely. I thought Rode was sending me something. But I already have. I got the Austrian Auto OC18 and the OC818. That's already been up and I've been playing with it and putting some guitar through it. So this is a lot of Austrian audio content ready to come. And this is kind of wild because usually January's there's nothing, but all of a sudden I just have mics kind of piling in. Bloody Cactus. Fancy. I know, that My Creator, I didn't really pay much mind before. This is a really nice case that it comes in, by the way. But then when you lift it up and you actually feel it, that's actually pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually pretty decent. And it does come with a satellite. So I guess for doing stereo stuff, I guess. And you can link multiples of these, I think. You can have multiple satellites going at the same time. I've never, ever really looked at these as anything plausible to review, or I kind of, I swore off USB mics, but this does seem like a type of USB mic that I might be interested in. So we'll see how that goes. SR375 contents is suitable for toilet reading. My wife is still on it. I don't know if Facebook's good for toilet reading or not. It's a lot of garbage goes through Facebook, and I used to be hardcore into it because when you're trying to prep for a morning show, you're constantly on there looking for things that people are talking about doing. But since about 2016, not exactly sure what happened that year, Facebook just took a dive, and it's just people fighting. There's a lot of propaganda on Facebook. I just don't have time for that crap. Twitter, there's a lot of that as well. But I don't know. Twitter has a different vibe to it. It doesn't feel as toxic. It feels a little bit more newsworthy, which I do enjoy. So yeah. So Fonse. Yeah, that's actually cute. I like that. What are we up to? 11. And Dylan's, we got somebody on Twitter. Hey, Twitter person, who are you? Actually, I wonder if you can actually post. I wonder. Yeah, I think no. I don't think Twitter's going to come through. But if you're on Twitter, actually comment on the video on Twitter or comment here. I want to see. I want to see who's watching on the Twitter. That's kind of cool. I didn't think we were going to draw too many people. Anyways, still waiting on Dylan. He's probably on the phone. But what we can get to here is we can get to a few of the cues, because one of the things I wanted to do today, with so little going on in the world of microphones, I figured we could do a little bit of Q&A. So here we go. This is Henry Voss. Wanted to say, recently found your videos and like the style, but sorry, this is a bit hard to follow if you're just listening to the audio. Didn't know which section you were talking about. Oh, that's fantastic. Anyways, thank you, Henry Voss. I don't know if you're going to watch this, but does anybody here on the live stream actually just like go about your day and listen to the videos? Like, especially review videos and stuff like that. Do you actually just kind of turn around and do something else while it's playing? I like to watch this. That's why it's a video thing and not a podcast. But I'm kind of curious, who does? Who actually just turns the video off and just listens on earbuds? Kind of curious. All right, I'll do this. Google regular care reviews. So fancy. Regular care reviews. All right, 1 second. Give me a second. I watch on the side. What does watching on the side mean? Help if I can spell. Regular care. I don't know what I'm getting. Okay, so fancy. It's a video. I will have to actually watch that later. Thank you. It's car reviews. Okay. Good to know. Good to know it's car reviews. I have monitors where I browse one on, listen to on the other, but will glance up periodically. That's what I do too. I tend to main monitor the YouTube, and if I'm doing something, I'll put like a little window off to the side where I'll like write scripts or something like that. But usually, like the view of the video is kind of in my peripheral, so I can see what's going on. If something catches my eye, I can look over. But I don't know if it, like, I don't know if it's a valid criticism, is the kind of what I'm getting around to. Is it a valid criticism that I'm not walking audible listeners through? Like, should I be actually like telling people what's going on while it's going on? I don't know. It seems like an interesting perspective, because I do guess people could listen to some of this as podcasts, because YouTube does do that. Oh, we got stuff coming in. Oh, that's Dylan, guys. So Dylan's power was out. 1 second, just texting the man. All right. So I don't know if Dylan's coming. Should make for a pretty short live stream, because I suck going solo. Flat out. Just not gonna lie. Yeah, so whether or not I should be doing stuff, I was gonna actually look to see if my my channel actually, I know I have a couple podcasts on the channel. Audio gear Q&A. Oh yeah, so my microphone reviews are a podcast. Maybe I should change that. Delete that podcast. Powering up system now. UPS died as well, so Dylan is on his way. So we shall see him in a few seconds. That kind of sucks. I watch live when I can, or listen when I'm driving. I also watch at the gym when I'm doing cardio. Oh, that's sweet. I guess this would be decent for cardio. Now, I do know that like the live stream per se is good audible listening. Like, you can listen to this when you're doing anything. We're not showing you anything on screen. We're not testing things. I still have that up. There we go. So this is actually a podcast on YouTube that you can listen to only. And frankly, I mean, you don't have to be looking at our ugly faces for it to really matter. However, I for actual reviews and stuff, it would be interesting whether or not, like, I'm going to actually have to listen to a few of Bandrew's podcasts or Bandrew's videos to see if they come across. So Dylan's on his way in. Maybe I'll actually sit down with Bandrew's videos and just listen. I'll just put it behind a window or something and see if it actually comes across as ugly. You have not seen my ugly mug. I guess it's all relative. My wife says I'm not ugly, or at least that's what she tells herself every night. So still we're working on, we still have one person, Valentin Levkovich. How's it going, Valentin? That's a YouTube. I'm guessing Twitter is unable to actually comment on the video. I'm gonna actually go check that out, see how that's going on because this is riveting live stream content right here, isn't it? That's gotten 3 views. Okay, all right. So we got 3 people on, or we've had 3 people scroll through on our Twitter. Now, whether or not Dylan actually comes around. So Valentin, I think this is the first time I've seen you on stream, buddy. What's up? Welcome to the live stream. It's usually a lot more fun than this. So, Dylan, I'm riveted. The third rail. Thanks, brother. Thanks. I'm glad I could be here for you. It's weird, right? Because I'm so used to, like, even in my radio career, I was always part of a morning show. So I always had somebody else that could, take some of the heartache away from me. I'm usually a lot more drunk. Oh man, I'm sorry. Maybe it would help if I was a little bit more drunk as well. So Austrian audio going to be the next few weeks. We also have a Rode product coming in that is going to be not a new product. Don't worry about that. It's not exactly something that's going to be mind-blowing. Hey, look who it is.
Hey,
there he is.
It's nice with this new StreamYard thing. We can we can do stuff like that easily.
Yeah, you can let me kind of die a silent death while I'm waiting for you to come in. Starting to juggle, doing some random things,
Oh, get out the Zip Fizz.
Zip Fizz. Oh, I just got your text. You don't think you're going to be able to make the stream? Your power's still out.
Yeah. So I it's still said at that point that I had reception, but evidently not. Right.
Welcome to the live stream, Dylan.
Hello.
Oh my God, we got so much stuff, kind of crap happening right now. Oh, that was you again. Okay. Just sharing some thoughts here. Somebody commented on one of my videos that it was a bit hard to follow the video if you were just listening to the audio. And I was wondering whether or not that's a valid concern. Do you ever just listen?
I rarely, and if I do and something doesn't make sense, I usually just chalk it up to me being an idiot and choosing to listen to a video. But I do know that there are people out there that will be driving and they'll put on an informative educational video while they're driving, but they're not going to be watching it because they're going to be watching.
Yeah, but mic reviews, come on. Microphone reviews, really?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't, but I'm sure there are people that do.
Yeah. SR375 says missing the UPS beeps. Yeah, you could have just kept the UPS going and just hang
on.
All right. There it is.
There we go.
Love that.
I got an hour and a half on this sucker and it runs my entire rig, which is 30, 40 pieces of equipment. So I'm actually quite impressed.
Nice.
It weighs 80 pounds.
Your audio's doing that thing again, just so you know. Play with the button.
Play with the button?
Yeah, play with the button. Third rail. This, I actually appreciate hearing stuff like this. This is the kind of stuff that I low-key aim for and that not a lot of people understand how hard it is to do. But I can't stay, but I wanted to say that I really appreciate about your channel is your videos are short, sweet, and to the point. Well done, and thanks. I appreciate that. I don't think, and this is nothing against longer videos, because most of my brothers in the audio sphere or audio sphere adjacent, like you're looking at the Tom Bucks, you're looking at the Curtis Judds, you're looking at Podcastage. They tend to have longer videos. They tend to be a lot more, they pack a lot more content in there. And it's not necessarily like that's what some people want. Some people want like every little thing shredded and given to us to like, you know, informed choice and all that. And that's cool. From the perspective I take is that a lot of people are going to Google a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
So if it's something you can quickly find with a Google search, because that's what I've used to try to separate myself from the rest of the crowd. So I do appreciate that. I'm glad that somebody was able to recognize that and appreciate it, because sometimes when you're putting out a 5-minute video, you're like, oh God, is this too short?
Yeah.
But, what do you prefer? You like the short or you like the long?
Well, I think it depends what the content is. I mean, you know, is it something that can be like, I don't know, for reviews, like product reviews, I'm going to say like 5 or 10 minutes is probably like the most that I'm willing to sit through talking about a product. If it's like a conceptual thing, like let's say like Dark Corner Studios, like the Dark Corner Media, the second channel stuff, then yeah, I'll sit through like a 20-minute video. If it's, you know, like I've watched super long videos about shit like Chernobyl, you know, like, or, you know, the science behind it, like stuff is complicated. Yeah. You know, provided I'm into it.
Entertaining.
But for like reviews or even like, I don't know, I would say, you know, channels like the Modern Rogue comes to mind, like kind of these, you know, Good Mythical Morning, like those kind of format things, the like the morning show style almost.
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes still. Like, I mean, you know, there are people that'll sit through more than that. And
the Red Cabin has a good point. I think if you're new to gear, you want to watch. If you're in your 5th, 6th, or 7th decade, we can visualize what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, a mic is a mic.
And you know what? I've struggled with this a lot when because I started out, there's some videos you can't help but do a longer video, like the RodeCaster Pro 2 video is going to be north of 10 minutes. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. The Mackie DLZ creator, things that are really intense. I'm finding it hard with microphones though. And like, I like what Bandrew does. But if I want to start expanding the length of videos for microphones, I basically have to start doing what Bandrew does. And Bandrew does it well. So you don't need 2 people doing the exact same thing.
No.
I've also started kind of morphing the styles of videos into less chaptery and more conversations about the product, and making it a little bit more not like, here's your build quality, here's your specs, it's just talking about what the product is, what it brings to the table, and kind of weaving some of that stuff throughout, right? Like the build quality, you can weave throughout the video, no problem. And I find that something that a lot of camera reviews do. So there's no, like, you don't have a set specific formula for the video. And I find it a little bit more flowy to watch, and it's a little more entertaining. So I've been trying that out with a few things. I've got the Austrian Audio OC818, and I'm doing a video about the 818, the 18, and the 16. And I'm not doing it like well, here's your build quality. I'm actually like talking about the product and making it more of a documentary style about the product rather than just like a class review like we usually do. So
yeah, well, and I think that's like, it's kind of like the 2 kinds of journalism, right? Do you want to just do something that's straight news wheel? Here's the who, what, here's the empirical information.
Yeah.
Here's the empirical data. And then, or do you want to do something more editorial that includes some of your opinions about it? You know, things that you've used it for, I don't know, things you notice about the sound, different like weird comparisons, kind of what Bandrew does. Like Bandrew does, you know, on all kinds of sources. Data. Yeah, he's not just talking into it for the reaction going, this is what it sounds like. He's doing all kinds of stuff to try and pad it out. And there's the two approaches. I think you're either way, you're going to piss 50% of people off because there are people that like the editorial style. I am one. Well, if I care about the person that's edit, like if I don't respect your opinion, then I'm not going to care what your opinion is.
Well, that's just it. Like I've seen videos for the new Rode desk stand that have been north of 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that kind of stuff and I'm like, yes, I know Rode sent me the desk stand and it's kind of a symbiotic relationship we have, but I can't get beyond 4.5 minutes on a desk stand. No matter how hard I try, I just can't. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, you know, if you're going for length, you're doing a disservice to your viewer. Unless you have content that is relevant.
Content that is befitting, you know, that's as long as it needs to be, I think, is the rule of thumb with something like that. Because like you said, like, what are you going to talk about? And what are you going to pad the video out without insulting the product? Like, hey, can you use it as a hammer? Like, you know, what are you going to do?
I've considered that on a few occasions. Like putting a mic test in as does it work as a hammer? And just having people
and plug the mic in while you're doing it too. And record it.
370 SR375 podcasters does not review pics on the toilet and that sort of content I'm looking for. I don't know if I do any pics on I've done like the toilet flush test. That was very different.
Mm-hmm.
How well it sounds trumps build quality every time. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been going for. And also like if my videos become stagnant, or if you know what to expect every time you open a video, then you're just like skipping stuff. You're like, all right, I don't want this. All right, I don't want to have this. And like comparisons, right? Like a lot of people don't want to watch comparisons. So how can you make that interesting? So it's just kind of a rejigging everything and shortening everything up as tight as possible. I don't need an 8-minute video for a second. And a lot of people, by the way, this is one of the reasons I stay away from 8 minutes, is because a lot of people hate that second commercial. And a lot of people create longer content just to get more commercials in on their product. So that's one of the reasons I've tried to avoid that. Red Cabin, between Bark, Bandrew, Bronson, Brown, Aiden, Buck, and a couple others, there's a style for everyone. All cool, all a bit different. I can't believe there's that. Wow, that's a lot of bees. Not gonna lie. That is, yeah, there's a lot of people doing this, and it's kind of cool to see how this community has grown. Even since I started, like when I started, the only people that were on my radar, the only person, well, Curtis Judd was, but Bandrew was basically the only person that was really cornering the microphone market. So, Dimebag, how's it going, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Dylan, I was sharing some comments. I did mention it was a Q&A, but it's not really a lot of Qs. It's more looking at some interesting comments. The one was about whether or not listening to the video is a smart idea. But this is also another one that somebody brought up. More than $100 for a desk stand is really too much. This was obviously off of the DS2, the Rode DS2 desk stand that was, I believe, $90, $99 maybe US.
Yeah,
how much is your boom arm, Dylan?
Well,
how much is your boom arm? I'm just asking a question. How much, if you were to go and buy both boom arms that you have, because you have an SM7B that's on a very expensive boom arm, and then I can't remember what the boom arm is holding your 27.
Is a PSA 1, so it's like 120, $130. You know, and I mean, you had one fail, and so I can't take that away from you. But like, I don't know, it's been good so far to me. I mean, it's a good arm. It doesn't, I think because I flex it regularly, like it doesn't just sit in this position like over the course of the week. I'm, you know, constantly putting it away, pulling it out, so it gets exercise. I think those boom arms, the PSA 1 in particular, I can't speak for the Pro, but I think they suffer when you just kind of let them sit and stagnate in the same position for like a year.
Didn't I give you a PSA 1 Plus?
No.
I thought I gave you a PSA 1 Plus. All right, anyways.
But so it's like 130, 140 bucks. This ungodly monstrosity, on the other hand, you probably can't see much from there, but
no, I'm going to bring it up though. Remind me which one it is.
it's the Mika. It's the Mika, the Yellowtech Mika, which is, it's not really a model. It's a line of products. In this case, it's part of their sort of system pole system.
All right, so I'm just going to share screen while you're talking. You continue though. Don't worry.
It's a hefty amount of money though.
Okay.
For an arm that, I'll be honest, it's amazing.
I love, well, I mean, when you compare it to a lot of the other ones, it's going to stand out. Like the quality, it's the same thing with the low profile boom arms I have from what's her name's OC White. I'm trying to find, these are all Canadian prices along the top here. $833 for their main boom arm, just a single boom arm.
So I should mention that you also, in order to use that, you need their $500 system pole.
Yes,
because otherwise you have nowhere to put the arm. So
you can set it up where you can drill your own hole.
Yeah, you got to get a custom fitting for the bottom of the arm. That's still going to cost you, but like, you know, you could save that, but it's really designed to go on the system pole with your monitor mounts and all that. Eventually I want to get the monitor mounts. I have a separate monitor mount at the moment. And it would be nice to just have the one system pole with everything on it. But they have like cool broadcast ready features. Like, for example, not the one that I have here. This is like the last generation of Mika arm. So it's got a tally light, which in broadcast usually says that the mic or the camera is on.
I'll put your full screen here. There you go. You can show it off.
Yeah. So it's got a red tally light that in this case I've just got wired into a relay on the Vorsys amplifier, or on the Vorsys processor. The new ones, not only is the tally light like the entire width of this end piece here. I don't know if my hand in frame there. I'm trying to see if it's plugging. But it's dual color. So you can feed voltage in one direction and get a red LED, or you can feed voltage in the other direction and get a white LED. So you can use the same mic pole for like your collar your collar light basically, and your on-air light on the same thing. And then obviously if both lights are active, you get this kind of weird pink light. Although how do you feed voltage backwards through at the same time through the same two wires?
So the reason I ask this is, why would you own an arm that costs 850 Canadian dollars when you can just go out and buy a $50 boom arm?
Because buying a good arm is an insurance policy on whatever you put on the arm.
No kidding.
If you put a really expensive mic, like, I don't know, if I put my U87, I would not put my U87 on the PSA 1. That said, the mic that's on it right now is like $600.
But it's also a dynamic that you can hammer a nail.
Yeah, it's a rugged beast. The SM7B, I mean, it's still pretty durable, but that front grill loves to dent. You know, and so I chose to put that on the Mika. And plus the shielding of the cable that's built into the arm is a lot better. It uses like Mogami cabling on the inside of that feller. So 5-pin XLR stuff.
But this all comes back to, like, if you're going to buy a desk stand for a mic, and you see a lot of SM7Bs on these tiny little desk stands, they're so easy to tip over. Maybe spend a little bit more money on something that might protect your investment. And it's all about boom arms and desk stands and all that stuff. And, you know, I gotta say, I've had a couple mics. I've lost one microphone on one of those crappy round boom stands.
Oh yeah.
Because the mic, it was a condenser. It fell over and it went right onto the floor, and the whole the grill was just crushed right in.
Oh yeah. That would those round bottom stands. I mean, I've got one somewhere, and I've a desk stand that's in that style, and it's a stupid design. It looks great. On a stage. On a stage,
yes.
Like if you got like a cabaret singer, like single vocalist, like front and center stage, there's nothing that will look better than like a 55 SH on one of those.
Oh yeah.
It's got that look. It's got that perfect look, but they're not as functionally effective as the tripod style. Or, I mean, even better yet would be the sort of the square, the X bracket, where the legs are lockable. Those are better, but the tripod is fine. I mean, I put $5,000-$10,000 mics on. I've been doing that forever, and I've never had an issue with it.
Oh, we got a love on Facebook. Thank you, Marianne. Aw.
Is that the Marianne?
Yeah, that's the Marianne. Make her sound like she's an outlaw or something. Was that the Marianne?
The Marianne, most wanted.
There are a lot of boom arms out there, and like there is a pretty good fine low profile boom arm. Yes, there's a lot of like cheap boom arms. The reason I go with Rode, and I've got them all over my studio, this is one that I use top down shoots, is because they're basically the bottom line for me. I've used them so much and I've got so many miles on them that I've had one break on me in 12 years of using them. And like I said in my last video, there's always going to be an outlier. There's always going to be one product that, you get one product that just breaks and it sucks, but it doesn't mean the whole lineup sucks. In 12 years, one boom arm has gone on me. And that was after, I think, 3 years worth of use, and pretty heavy use too. So Rode boom arms, I don't put really expensive mics on them, except for the OC818 I'm going to have to put on it, which is going to break my heart a little bit, because I don't want to put it on a desk stand either. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you want to have a really nice microphone and not be afraid of it breaking, you need to spend at least a quarter of the cost of that microphone on holding it up.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So if you have a $500 microphone, $125 for a boom arm shouldn't be stupid, as far as I'm concerned. And $500 for a microphone isn't all that much money. I mean, it's really not. We a Red Cab and OC White, $180 to $320 US for a pro using those tools full time. Worth it. Not so much for a hobby. I do have to say, OC White, I don't find is worth it. I know Bandrew's got the Series 2. I have the Series 1, the same low profile boom arms. They're clunky. They've got a lot of like areas to put your wires and all that stuff, and you can really get a slick looking design, but they're clunky. They don't fold away very easily. And for the price you're paying for them, I do have my monitor on my main setup. My sideways ultra-wide monitor is on one of those arms attached to the pole in the back so it's okay, but I don't know, man. Yellow Tech I like a lot more than OC White. But unless OC White's willing to send me some boom arms, I figure I should point that one out. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the other stuff they have, but that first gen is definitely not worth the money. Dimebag, this is where Bandrew comes into play. He does such a great comparisons for mics. You can really understand what you're getting for your money. You know what? And I've had, it's interesting. I agree with you. What Bandrew does is awesome. I find like if I were to get into large scale comparisons, people are going to watch Bandrew before me. So I have to find a way to niche my own way into it, right? And to do things with the microphones and to not challenge Bandrew and what he's doing, right? As far as I'm concerned, it would be silly of me to try to take over what Bandrew's doing already. So yeah, that's why I don't really go into the large scale comparisons. And also I don't necessarily I think a couple comparisons based on what my average views are and where I see people starting to nope out of my videos, it's usually during the comparisons. It's usually about the second or third one in. People are like, nope, I'm out. They move on to the next chapter, and you see this big carve out of view time. So yeah, it doesn't break my heart too much. Bandrew, that's his thing. That's what he's really good at. I love the shtick with comparing everything to the U67?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the U87, he was doing that for a while as well, which I love that shtick. So I use Sentry stands for good mics in the studio and for overheads. I've never heard of Sentry stands. You, Dylan?
Yep.
Yeah, are they any good? What's this? Dimebag. Is that the Marianne I paid to say something nice about me? Best buck I ever spent. I do know that Marianne is a voiceover artist and she has been working with some podcasters. She does intros and stuff, and she does a great job. It might not be the cheapest thing you get, but she is a world-class talent voiceover artist. And being able to have somebody that's like, she's doing voiceover stuff for some incredibly large projects. It's amazing to see. And then she's willing to go and voice a podcast. That's really cool, I think. So if she's the one, yes, good friend Marianne. This is interesting. So the vid on USB cables was also well on point for quality and one-off bad cables. It's funny. I didn't think a video about USB cables was going to hit the mark for so many people, but so many people have been like, oh my God, yes. And I even tried getting a USB tester. Like, I tried getting one of the testers for USB cables. But in order to actually test speeds of cables, because that's the one thing, you plug any cable in, it'll tell you, yeah, it's a super speed, but it won't tell you, it'll just tell you that there's a wire in the spot where super speed is supposed to be.
It's just telling you that the pin out of the cable matches the specification.
But it won't even tell you if there's continuity in the pin out. Like, that's what annoyed me about it. Like, at least tell me that there's continuity for power delivery, because it can tell me that it's pinned out for power, but it can't tell me if it's going to give power. And that annoyed me. And
and what a lot of people don't understand, particularly about like a lightning cable, for example, which is like the Apple charge cable, is in the head of that cable, in the lightning port, and similar things exist in USB-C. Lightning ports are really tiny. There's 8 chips underneath the part that you plug in.
Yeah.
There's 8. Like they're electronic devices now, cables. They're not just copper wires. Especially when you start getting into like serial bus stuff, like serial type connections. Like, the only time where you really won't see a lot of chips in my experience is parallel. Like, I'm thinking like old printer ports, for those that are old enough to remember that, or like, DB25, which is literally just copper. But it was anything like, especially high speed, like USB 3.0, USB 4. There's a lot of electronics hiding in that cable that you don't know about that absolutely impact the behavior and speed. But like, one thing about the lightning connector is that in an iPhone, there's a really tiny little chip called the TriStar chip. And that chip regulates power delivery, among other things, to the phone. And so what the problem with that TriStar chip is, it's really sensitive and easy to blow. And once you blow that chip, you're not going to be able to download anything off that port again, and you're not going to be able to charge off that port again. So you better figure out a way to back your shit up now. But one thing they talk about is one of the chips that's in the lightning connector acts as a power bouncer. It will scan the sort of the amperage capacity of whatever is feeding it. Its maximum power delivery. It will check the voltage. It will check for like line interference, shit like that. And if it doesn't check out, it will not tell the phone, hey, it's safe to use this power. But if it's a knockoff chip, it'll be like, yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough. It'll work.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you get a voltage spike or something and it fries the inside of your phone. So yeah, absolutely. Cables make a difference, especially in that kind of digital world.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, so Red Cabin wants to know, did you see the USB-C cable video done by Adam Savage from Mythbusters? I do watch a lot of Adam Savage's stuff.
He's a good, he's a good creator.
I haven't seen that one. I can only imagine. This is an interesting one. SR375. Never terminate your own Ethernet cables unless you have the correct tools and test equipment.
But yeah, absolutely. You need a Ethernet. Well, decent ends. A good crimper, and also the right kind of crimper, like through hole design versus like the little clip design or whatever.
It's really important if you're doing PoE. You don't need to test it prior unless you're doing PoE.
Yeah, which, I mean, if you're and I don't know. Usually, I find people, if you're just hooking up some computers to Ethernet, there are 2 instances where I found people tend to be inclined to crimp their own cables. It is where you're wiring up your home for wired Ethernet, which my dad did when I was a lot younger. He, had put Ethernet ports in the wall all over the house for, devices, which is actually quite handy. And then security cameras.
Yeah. Oh, well, those are usually PoE.
Well, exactly, which is why people, not only do you need custom runs because you're going to weird ass parts of your house, but also you need PoE. So in that last particular case, you're going to want the right test equipment in particular. If you're just making regular Ethernet cables, as long as you get the pattern right, unless you're making a crossover cable, in which case you get the pattern right.
Yeah, speed and crosstalk do come into play most of the time. If you don't pin out an Ethernet cable properly, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. It'll just, nowadays I've been surprised though. There are some NICs that are capable of kind of sussing out where the pins are going and then adjusting accordingly.
Oh, really?
I think they call it auto MIDI or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's very new. It's a very new design. So most devices that you're going to be plugging in this day and age are not going to have that technology. So getting the pattern, and there is a standard pattern. I forget which it is. For those that have never looked at the inside of an Ethernet cable, there's orange, blue, green, and brown, and then there's striped versions. All those, and there is a standard as far as which pin left to right on the one connector.
I used to know it because I used to run all the cables from my old radio station. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. Oh, my fingers were bleeding.
Oh no, I would
getting them all lined up and putting them in. Ugh.
Yeah, no, especially if you're like in our building, like most radio stations, it's mostly Ethernet equipment. So there's like hundreds of cable runs and all need to be labeled in some kind of a way that makes sense.
SR375 says Auto Mid-X is about crossover correction. Cool.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Look at a packet drops on a right pinned out cable. Yeah, see, and that's the stuff like I just use them to hook up my Xbox and stuff. I've never had an issue. I don't think I've ever pinned one wrong. I remember I got my son to do one, he pinned it wrong. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Zerafael has an interesting question here. What's your opinion about the MXL 990 for long form narration voiceover? A lot of people swear by the MXLs. I don't like them. I find what I can say about MXLs is the bodies are well known for being rebuilt in. So people will buy the microphone just to tear everything out of it and put another microphone in it.
Yeah.
That should be telling about how people view the MXL lineup. But at the same time, as with any microphone, see how it sounds on your voice. I know people doing long form narration where they're using Yetis. They're using USB microphones. For a lot of the narration, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing audiobooks and stuff, there's not like, you're not looking for like a U87 going through a $5,000 preamp or anything like that. Most people don't care because, again, they're putting them in earbuds into their ears and listening at 96 kilobit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter if it sounds decent on your voice, man. It sounds decent on your voice. The only thing I will caution you about the 990 and the MXL lineup, I do believe they have high EINs. They have high noise levels. So if you're going to be doing some post-production, make sure you denoising some of that product at the end. So the only MXL I've owned is I smashed it with a sledgehammer. So
classic.
Which, by the way, still does not get the amount of love it should. That video is a classic as far as I'm concerned. Peter Belusov. Is it possible to set up a RodeCaster Duo on one PC and connect to another without installing any drive or work laptop, but so that all presets for mics will work? Yes, it's got a dual PC. It's a dual PC out. Actually, I've got one right here. Let me unplug the power.
Me too.
Yeah, Dylan's got one now too. So you have two PCs here. So you have two outs or two USB connections to the computer, which means one of the things they introduced on the RodeCaster series is you can use USB 2 to run a Rode USB microphone through. But the other choice is to use this for a second computer. And yes, I believe all the mic presets. I can't imagine the mic presets wouldn't work because it's just a signal going out to the computer. It's not like there aren't going to be separate settings. It's literally just something you fade up and it sends that signal, but it's only a stereo signal to your second computer. You don't get multi-track capability. It is just the stereo out signal going to the second computer. So yes, it does work. You know what? This SR375 looks good in white. All of the white, by the way, I've got the RodeCaster Duo in white. I've got the PSA 1 Plus in white, and I've got the white headphones. I love the white version. I don't know what it is. I actually lent my black Duo to Dylan. Dylan's got it now. Did you hook it up yet?
Oh yeah. It's there's some neat stuff about that thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was showing my girl that they can like change the color of the headphone, the headphone knobs. I'm like, I mean, why? But why not? Right? Like that's like,
because there's going to be that one person on your podcast like, I want it to be pink.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, who sat there and like on the dev team was like, this needs to be a feature. Like,
you know what? A lot of this stuff they've added, like as time has gone on. Like even from the RodeCaster Pro 2 to the RodeCaster Duo, they've upgraded certain things for creature comfort, like the knobs with the indicators on the knobs. It's so much nicer on the knobs in the Duo than it is on the RodeCaster Pro 2. So they're kind of upgrading as they go. And I think they're just like throwing shit at the wall. Like, why not? Why not do that? If you can, it's it's one big programmable box that they can do whatever they want.
What's the MSRP for the Duo again?
$500.
That's really good value.
That's US.
Yeah, I mean, but still. Like that's real, like for what you're getting, which is a relatively feature dense little unit.
Consider everything too. Like you consider all of the specs of the thing, which are really good. Like Rode didn't screw around with their preamps. They didn't screw around. You've got onboard DSP. You've got all the little things, and people complain about $500 for literally a studio in a box. Like you can do so much with this. And I spent almost over $500 US on my first mixer that couldn't do a tenth of what this thing could do. So I think like, yeah, $500 is actually pretty decent for this. And you're right. Feature rich is very true. It's not a pro studio. It's not meant to take the place of a pro studio. It's meant to be your all-in-one. And I think that's
your AIO.
Like when I lent it to you, like what's your usual board? Like your setup is how much money? Like just a single mic line. How much is that one?
$10,000.
10 grand for a single mic line.
Yeah.
And yet you can still look at the RodeCaster Duo and go, that's cool.
Yeah. Again, maybe not for what I do, which is more focused on like ridiculous quality over convenience, because that's really where the benefit of the Rode comes in. Is it's super convenient.
Yeah.
It's got it does everything that it has. Is all of it amazing? I mean, I think it'll get you to good places. I think you could make money using it. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Would it replace, an API channel strip? No.
No.
But would it replace having good mic technique and then being in a decent room? No.
Yeah, there's still stuff you've got to work on yourself.
Yeah, 100%. So I feel like, I don't know. So, and you and I've talked about this before. People will be like, how do I, like this mic has a lot of noise in it. It's like, is it the mic or is it where the mic is? I think 9 times out of 10, it's not the mic that has as much noise. I mean, hey, if you buy a XM 1800S, yeah, it's probably a little both. But I think if you're getting a Sennheiser Mark IV or you're getting an NT1, the noise is not the mic noise is not your problem.
Yeah. Peter came back. Thanks. The white is sexy for sure. It is. The limitation is that I can't install anything for my work PC. So if RodeCaster Duo will work on it as a USB mic, should be fine. I don't know if you have to install anything on the second computer. That is a good question. Leave that with me. The problem is every computer I own has it. That's the problem.
I mean, I've got one that doesn't have it.
Could you do that? Could you just plug it into your just in the USB? Rig? Yeah, into your laptop and see if you need to install something for it to work as just like an audio interface, like stereo audio.
I'll plug it into my corporate laptop because that thing is locked down anyway. So if it tries to do any kind of funny business,
it just self-destructs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Peter, check back. Maybe drop a message or drop a comment on this video, and just as a reminder, and just kind of keep hitting it on this video. When I find that out, I will let you know. I don't think so, but with PC, you never know, man. You need to have drivers installed. No drivers required. That's our SR375. So that is, if you can take it from one of our viewers, and our viewers are pretty smart, SR375 says no drivers required for the second. I wonder if that depends on the computer, though.
Could. Or if something is already installed, like a driver that is already like a generic.
If it's locked down, or how locked down it is. Peter also wants to know, how do you compare mic processing through DBX 286X versus the RodeCaster Duo? It's really hard to compare a software versus a hardware option. I was never a big fan of the DBX 286X. I mean, it's good for what it is. It's okay for what it is.
I think tools like that, DBX is tough because DBX is a utility company for the most part. I mean, some people are going to hate me for this, but DBX is generally not known for quality. DBX is known for robust and reliable. Like I see a lot of DBX products used in live applications. Especially their compressors, their big old graphic EQs, those kinds of things, because they last a while. But the sound quality isn't amazing. Is the DBX graphic EQ particularly musical in the way that it approaches dealing with frequencies? No. Mind you, graphic EQs generally aren't super musical because that's not really what they're designed for. But even their compressors, like I've got a DBX 166A and a 166XL beside me, and they sit there and they look pretty because they have red lights that go on, and that's basically all that they're there for.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if you're just looking for like stock compression, stock de-esser, stock EQ. The software that you get on the RodeCaster series is fine. It's fine for podcasting.
But I will say where the value of hardware like that comes in is, number one, it's not expensive.
Yes.
And so that's kind of nice. So I don't know if you've already got an interface and you don't want to get wired up with a whole new RodeCaster or whatever, or you got a smaller budget even, but you have a decent interface. Like let's say you bought like an Antelope, Zen Go or something, and you're like, I don't want to. I'm good with the quality of this. It's a good way for you to expand the processing of that and get some real-time processing capabilities. And B, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a way to learn. Because those things don't have presets on them, right? Those things, like, you need to learn how compressors work in order to use those devices. Yep. And so I think if you're getting into the pro circuit, like you're getting into professional podcasting, and you really want to learn how to properly process a voice, fiddling around with some hardware knobs is one of the best ways to do that. It's kind of like, what's the best trial by fire way to drive a car? Well, drive a standard Beetle.
Right.
Let that be your first car you drive around, and you'll learn how to drive real good.
Almog, what is the most versatile microphone that can sound good for everything?
That's hard. I mean, the SM58. I mean, we've got content that leans to that.
I would actually say the SM58 is probably, like, it doesn't blow you away on anything, but it also doesn't sound horrible on anything.
Well, the SM7, the SM57 for instruments, it's kind of been known as the same thing. It's the Swiss Army knife. Swiss
Yeah.
Army knife was never designed to be, a cleaver, nor was it designed to be the best automatic corkscrew you've ever used in your life. It's designed like, hey, I need something that I should have on me when I don't know what I need.
Yeah.
And that's basically what the 57 is for. And the 58 is very similar. Like if I get a weird voice and I don't know, I've never recorded a voice like that. Like one time I had like this kind of screamo guy that I was recording, and I was like, oh fuck. Like, I don't even know, man. Like, and there are metal guys that would tell me immediately, like, oh yeah, I would use this. And I'd be like, cool, all right. But at that time, I didn't have any other insight. Now I would use an SM7, 100%.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, 57 or 58. And it sounded great. We mixed it, and it needed a good amount of processing because, you got to polish that turd a little bit, but it did the job.
Just want to say, see if Wheezy in the house. How's it going, buddy? I was thinking about you a little while ago. I was like, well, I haven't seen him at a live stream in a while. So good to see you, brother. Yeah, we've fallen behind. Steve said he learned to drive in a Beetle, and he lived. I wish I could have learned on a Beetle. Good at most, great at nothing. Yeah, that's basically everything. If you have a 57, you can get an add-on vocal windscreen for it as well. Yeah, that I've got a video about it. The presidential microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually looks really good. It really does.
Yeah.
I like the look of it over like. It's probably the best looking handheld microphone when it has that little windscreen on it.
The only thing though is the 57. The issue with that mic is it's not actually designed to be handheld. It has no shock absorption inside it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say you know that firsthand. The main difference between the 57 and the 58 structurally is that obviously the pop screen is a lot closer to the capsule in the 57. It's not designed for like ridiculous amounts of wind going into it. And also, which is where the windscreen comes in, but and also it's got no pneumatic shock absorption around the capsule. So if you jostle around, you're fucked.
Yeah, no kidding. And you know what? One of the things, if you're going to find any kind of argument to buy an SM57 or an SM58 as the ultimate all-around microphone, not a single microphone on the market that I know of sells used for 90% of the original value, other than the SM58 and 57. You go on it can literally be 30 years old and beat to hell. Not a single ounce of paint left on it, dented, and it's still 90% of the original cost because it still sounds good.
Yeah.
It still sounds fantastic.
Yeah, they last, that's for sure.
I've seen so many people selling them and they're like, yeah, it's still $90. But it's only $100. Yeah, but it's an SM57. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I'll throw in a cable for free. It's like, oh. Peter, I have an SM7B that I love and want to reuse, but I bought a Moto M2 before getting a job with a laptop, and I can't install anything. Yeah, that sucks. SM7B and a Moto M2 will be problematic a bit as well. I don't believe you have enough gain for that SM7B whatsoever. So yeah, you want to make sure you're getting at least 60 dB of gain. Probably more than that because you want a little bit of headroom on your gain as well. So
or get a cloud lifter.
A cloud lifter as well. That is also an option. But yeah, the other option is getting another laptop. It sucks, but I mean, work laptops are frustrating. And I know a lot of companies that actually like it's a fireable offense to use their work laptop for anything but. Like the company that I work for, Bell, you would be fired if they found that you plugged anything into a work laptop that wasn't work property because of the infrastructure of the stations at the time. That one bad bug getting in could like destroy everything.
And BCE as a whole. I mean, if something gets into that intranet, it's not just the radio stations that'll suffer. I mean, you're talking about Canada's largest telecom company.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like that's why. Like if they found you plugging in your phone just to charge it, fired on the spot. You signed a paper when you got hired that said you could be fired. And I get it. So there are some companies that really don't like you plugging into their gear. Just keep that in mind. Holds value in their ports. I'm not exact. 58 in your toolkit. Yeah, 58. Every studio, and I put out a video about this. Every studio needs an SM58. I am doing the second video in that series too about condensers. I'd rather have a beat to hell 58 than a brand new $50 fake. And this is the thing, like a lot of people push the XM8500 as being just as good. And they're cheap. Like you can buy 3 of them for the cost of one SM58. I just never really got the vibe of it. I find the off-axis rejection is so frustrating on those things because as soon as you go off-axis, you lose so much of your frequencies. Like so many of the frequencies just drop right off. And for a cardioid microphone that is possible for stage, it kind of sucked, especially if I went off-axis to avoid plosives. Maybe that's just the one I have. Maybe they're all a little different because they only cost $30. Was that too much? I can plug, just can't install. Maybe I'm pretty loud, but I use it without boosters at 430 and the Motu's gain. All right. That's not bad. I was under the impression that the Motu only had 55 dB a gain. I might be wrong. I never got any Motus across my desk. I tried, but they came out right before the pandemic. And then everybody bought them all up. So that, like, I was going to buy one during the pandemic and review it, but if you can't get your hands on it, you can't do it. Yeah. Oh crap. We're at 10 after 6 already. That was a good live stream, man.
Considering I was like 15 minutes late.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah. Living in the middle of the city, such a power sensitive zone.
It's good to have you, brother. Anyways, I do have one more that I wanted to share. This is one more comment that came through on a video. Are you able to see this, Dylan?
I am.
So this was left on a video for the Blue Yeti and why people should stop buying the Blue Yeti.
Oh yeah, well, you see right there's a bias. And I like, how many times have we talked about this? How many times? It's like, just you not agreeing with an opinion expressed in content does not make it shitty content.
I do love that. If you're going to insult me, at least type it out
and use proper grammar.
Like, just type it out in Word. Actually, you could probably type it out in like Chrome and just hit enter.
But Aiden, I have a question. Who is your idiot? I mean,
there's so many answers to that. I know whose idiot I am.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, video sucks. Mike's cool.
Yeah. Mike's not cool. You bought it and you're butthurt about the fact that somebody didn't agree with your purchasing choices.
Yeah, I just needed to highlight that one because it
never gets old, though. I love that shit. I love it.
I think people seem to think this one's going to be a big gotcha moment where I'm going to cry myself to sleep. I just love it.
But it never is. Like, never has any, like, I don't know, YouTuber who is in this for the long haul is like seen a comment like, go kill yourself, and been like, oh fuck, I guess I'll pack her in. Like, you know?
Well, and it's also like the amount of people that have commented, like really digging deep. Like, I've had comment on my weight, on everything, and it's like, you honestly think you're going to tell me I'm an idiot with really bad grammar and that's going to cut? Come on, buddy. You got to do better than that.
Yeah, especially, I don't know, with some of the shit that some people have been through. It's like, really? You think a random comment from some mystery stranger on the internet is going to break me? Really?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
By the way, Steve says last month we had a tornado go through the middle of the city in Cologne, Germany, and we never lost power. Oh, I can tell you about in Ottawa, we had a tornado come through just our west end, and I was without power for 2 weeks because it hit the transfer station.
It was bad. There was there was a lot going on.
Nickname. I bought a Rode Streamer X a week ago, and I have a problem using it with headphones. Sennheiser HD 600s. The sound from headphones was really good before last update firmware. HD 600s, I believe, are... One second. HD 600. I can troubleshoot you on the go. What is the...
Troubleshoot you on the go.
Those are high impedance, if I recall. which high impedance are going to struggle on something like the Rode X. Now, the Streamer X. Now, Nick, one thing I would say is make sure the power is on, like you have the power plugged in for the Streamer X, or it's not going to have enough power to push those headphones. If you don't have power plugged in and you're running as a bus, on bus power, you're not going to be able to. I'm almost positive. I'm trying to find the specs on those. Accept all. Come on. Specs, frequency, sound pressure level, impedance, 300 ohms. Yeah, a 300 ohm headphones are not going to be pushed by a Streamer X without the power being plugged in. Yeah, AKGs with 55 ohms. You're better to stay under 80 ohms if it's not bus powered. The nice thing about the RodeCaster series is they're all powered. So they all actually have pretty good kick for headphones. I use SR375 is saying wouldn't use higher impedance. I've used my the 280s.
Oh my God, nice.
The Bear Dynamics, yeah. And I have not. DT770s. That's what I'm looking for. The DT770s, and I have not had a single problem. So bite me and chew. Nice. I'm not sure what that means, but hey, Dimebag. Anyways, guys, I'm getting out of here. So is Dylan. Have yourself a great week. Thanks for joining us. This was the first stream that went across Facebook and Twitter. And as I can tell, we still have one live viewer from YouTube, nothing from Facebook, but we do have a like from Marianne. So I'm going to call that a win. Yeah. And let me know if you were watching this on any other platform other than just YouTube, because I know you can still watch this on all of the platforms after the fact. So let us know down below. Cheers, guys. Have yourself a great week.